One down, 3 to go.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of the Herd Mentality Substack, co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast, co-host of the NFL First Read Podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if you win or lose your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. Happy Victory Monday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the Denver Broncos 31-7 and advance to the divisional round of the playoffs. We got the result and the performance I was hoping to see. Defense showed up, the run game was dominant, and Josh Allen did special things. So many good things from this game. Can't wait to break it all down for you here today on this episode. We'll talk about things I liked. We'll get into things I didn't like. Not a lot there. We'll recap my predictions, and we'll briefly touch on the Bills' divisional round opponent, the Baltimore Ravens. Let's start with things I liked on offense, and of course, I'm starting with the run game. If you listened to the podcast last week, you knew that I had some confidence in the Bills being able to run the ball against Denver, and they were terrific. Over 200 rushing yards. They dictated this game because of how they ran the football. The catalyst, James Cook. 22 carries, 120 yards, over 5 yards per carry, had a touchdown run. And I thought there were two runs in particular that, as they happened, my confidence in the Bills being able to control the game really grew. The first one was a first down run. I think James got 4 or 5 yards. And then Deion Dawkins and company just moves James Cook like another 10 yards. And that was like a tone-setting moment in the game. Then his touchdown run, terrific run. He was contacted at about the 2.5, 3 yard line. He finished strong through contact, carried that linebacker in and scored. And when James is running with that type of conviction, with that type of, urgency through contact, things are good. And James Cook, certainly the catalyst for this outstanding day running the football for the Buffalo Bills. Love seeing Josh Allen's involvement in the run game, 8 carries for 46 yards. You could tell that Denver was nervous about that component for their defense was, how do they bottle up Josh Allen? And I thought they had the wrong idea. They're a good defense. They're an aggressive defense. They were really, really, really careful. And I think it's okay to be cautious at times, but their overall plan was too cautious. It flew in the face of what got them to that moment, and the Bills were able to take advantage. Josh Allen on the ground, 8 carries, 46 yards. And then Ty Johnson, 9 carries for 44 yards as well. Your top 3 ball carriers, Cook, Allen, Johnson, 39 rushes, 210 yards. That's over 5 yards per carry, 5.3 yards per carry. Of course, you had 1 run for Ray Davis for 3 yards, and then 3 Mitchell Trubisky kneel downs to get to the total rushing production that you probably look at in the box score. But I thought the backs, all of them, of course, James Cook, the headliner, physical, decisive running. The offensive line was fantastic, moving bodies out of the way, controlling, resetting the line of scrimmage, creating displacement. And then you also have to tip your hat to the ancillary blockers for this team. Guys like Dawson Knox, Alec Anderson. The Bills ran 6 offensive linemen, a ton. I'm certain over 20% of snaps, Alec Anderson's out there as that utility blocker. Reggie Gilliam, Mac Hollins does a great job, even Khalil Shakir. So you have rushing output like that. Of course, the ball carriers are going to get the shine. The O-line, the scheme, the ancillary blockers as well were terrific. How about this passing game? How about Josh Allen? 20 of 26, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns passing. That's 135.4 rating. And I really enjoyed the passing game for the most part, especially the deep stuff. Josh Allen, 4 of 4 on throws, 20 yards or more down the field for 139 yards, 2 touchdowns. They handled the blitz extremely well. We knew that Denver would blitz. Josh Allen had a success rate of 75% when blitzed against the Broncos. That comes courtesy of the 33rd team. That's the 4th highest success rate by any quarterback in a playoff game with 10 or more dropbacks since 2000. Josh Allen ranking 4th out of 140 performances in terms of playoff success rate against the blitz. Josh has been great against the blitz all year long. That continued against Denver when he needed to be great against the blitz. And so Josh Allen, obviously terrific as a runner, a lot of production throwing the football, particularly down the field, beating the blitz. But how about the receivers? I thought the receivers in this game just made some great plays. And credit to Joe Brady. I thought he was in his bag throughout this game. If you want Joe Brady to be your head coach, I think this is one heck of a resume game for him to show what he did against, or what he was able to draw up against, a top tier defense like Denver. But these receivers really made some plays. I mean, the insane completion to Ty Johnson, obviously Josh Allen, great job extending the play, great throw. But on that 4th down for the Bills to be able to come through with the touchdown in that spot, that was a big moment in that game that I think it's probably the moment that blew the thing wide open. So for as dominant as the Bills were in this game, it was fairly tightly contested for, 70% of the game. And that was kind of the game-breaking moment. And just an unbelievable catch by Ty Johnson, one that you'll always remember, right? I mean, you think about degree of difficulty plays, that's high up there. To be able to navigate that back line like he did, like that 1 foot looked like it was going to go out of bounds, and then it just kind of pops up at the right time. He makes the catch. I mean, just an unbelievable play. Curtis Samuel, big-time touchdown catch. He comes free on that over route for a touchdown. He beat Patrick Surtain. Great call out of the quarter. First play of the 4th quarter, you kind of have an opportunity to talk things out and figure out what you want to run. Great play call by Joe Brady. Great throw, great catch by Curtis Samuel. And, of course, a great finish to find pay dirt. Dalton Kincaid, a big catch down the field. Maybe it wasn't, but it's a catch. The Bills got up, very situationally aware, ran a play. It counts. Khalil Shakir, I mean, huge yards after catch plays. Huge. Couple of times being able to get the Bills into a 3rd and manageable after being in a 2nd and long. Shakir's just such a competitive football player that's so good after the catch. He's so hard to tackle. He's a dog. How about Dawson Knox coming through with some production in this game? And I thought that was kind of the cast of characters that needed to be the catalysts in the passing game. This wasn't a good matchup for the Bills' outside receivers in Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper and Mac Hollins. Mac had the nice 19-yard catch. Coleman had a catch, right? He had the 2-point conversion. Cooper had a couple of short catches, but this wasn't about them. This wasn't their game to really go off. It wasn't a good matchup. But what that did mean is it was a good matchup for the backs, the tight ends, the slot players, and I thought the Bills had the exact right plan to attack this Denver defense. And boy, did they find a lot of production that's uncommon to achieve against Denver. Kind of crazy to think the Bills only had 8 drives. There was only 8 drives in this game by both teams. You think about a football game, it's 10, 11, 12 possessions each. 8. And on those 8 drives, the Bills get 31 points, 26 first downs. They go 10 of 17 on possession downs. So that's 3rd and 4th down conversion opportunities. 471 yards on 8 drives, 210 rushing, 6.5 yards per play. You had the ball. You possessed the ball for 42 of 60 minutes in the ball game. Talk about dictating terms. And I think it all starts with that rushing output. The passing game was opportunistic, but pretty quiet for a good portion of that game. Then you started to see those game-breaking plays. The Ty Johnson play, the Curtis Samuel play, the Kincaid play. It was a beautiful recipe. Absolutely beautiful recipe. 31 points on the much celebrated Denver defense. So great day for the offense. Great day for the defense as well. Excited to talk about that here on the other side of it. Folks, be sure to stick with me. Growing your small business in 2025 comes down to how well you can hire. And let's face it, better hires start with smarter insights. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. With the highest and strongest hiring data available, LinkedIn helps you identify the right candidates, giving you the confidence to make the best decisions for your business. I've used LinkedIn Jobs myself, and I can tell you it's a game changer when it comes to hiring the right fit. Small businesses are wearing a lot of hats, so every hire is crucial. LinkedIn gets that. That's why they connect you with the best candidates using data you won't find anywhere else. From unique skills and interests to the connections you share, LinkedIn helps you find the right person for your job. In fact, 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn has helped them find a high-quality candidate. I know from experience how important it is to make the right hiring decisions, and having access to insights like what skills candidates have or how they're connected to your network are very important. And that's what helps you feel confident when you're ready to pull the trigger. Hire smarter this year and find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. It's playoff time, and if you're like me, you want to make the most of these final weeks of football action. That's where Prize Picks comes in. If you love football and want a chance to win real money while watching the games, Prize Picks is the place for you. It's the best way to turn your sports opinions into cash with daily fantasy player projections. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on player stats like total passing yards or rushing touchdowns, and for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. You can make your picks in less than 60 seconds, and whether you're looking for a flex play to boost your payout or want to cash out quickly, Prize Picks has got you covered. And with over 10 million members and billions in winnings, it's clear that people are loving this platform. I've been playing for a while now. I'm having a blast. It's super easy to use, and I love how fast the payouts are. Seriously, I've gotten paid out in as little as 15 minutes when my picks hit, plus the weekly promos like Taco Tuesday discounts and even more value to my lineups. Here's a special offer for Locked On NFL listeners. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL. That'll get you $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, folks, let's talk defense. They were terrific. I mean, honestly, one freaking play, right? The bomb to Troy Franklin, Taylor Rapp, Rasul Douglas kind of gets between them. He gets behind the secondary. Bo Nix hits the throw. They're off to a 7-0 lead, scoring that touchdown. But otherwise, it was a terrific effort. And Rasul Douglas, after the game, came out and said, look, him and Rapp saw it differently. They got it cleaned up. Obviously, it was costly, but really from that point forward, the Bills tightened the screws. On that first drive, they go 5 plays, 70 yards for a touchdown, including a 3rd and 8 conversion. So you see this 3rd and 8 conversion where there's not enough pass rush. It's like a backside dig to Cortland Sutton, and then they throw the bomb to Troy Franklin. And if you're like me, you're like, oh, my God, this defense is just going to be a problem. Giving up a 3rd and long, giving up a explosive play for a touchdown. I thought it was going to be a dogfight. Well, they certainly figured it out on the next 7 drives. Again, only 8 drives for each team. On the next 7 drives, the Bills give up 0 points, 154 total yards. The Broncos punt 4 times. They turn it over on downs twice and miss a field goal, and a 50-yard field goal in that. Talk about figuring it out on defense. It was good to see because I was nervous after that first drive. I thought Von Miller was terrific in this game. Thought he was the best pass rusher on the field for the Bills. Had some good run defense reps as well. I thought the plan with Matt Milano was really good. They used him frequently as kind of a quasi-spy where he became the force player on scrambles, a lot of secondary contain. That helped. I know that later in the game, Bo Nix started to scramble a little bit, and the Bills were not necessarily staying true to that thought process, but I thought they had a great plan for how to deploy Matt Milano. They still used a lot of dime in this game, bringing in Jamarcus Ingram as that extra defensive back, taking Milano off the field. Greg Rousseau with a sack and 2 tackles for loss. Actually, Matt Milano was credited for a sack in the game because if you tackle the quarterback for no gain, that winds up being a sack, and Matt forced Bo Nix out of bounds for a no gain. But, I mean, 8 drives, Denver runs 42 plays. They have the ball for 18 minutes. They go 3 of 12 on possession downs, 224 total yards. Think about it like this. They got 20% of their yardage for the game on that one play. Their running backs non-existent, 35 yards on 11 carries. Buffalo's defense 100% had the right stuff. Now, look, I get it. It's a rookie quarterback on the road, a team that hadn't been to the playoffs in 9 years, but this is also a Bills defense that it's kind of been a problem down the stretch, and they certainly met this moment. There's no question about it. Hat tip to Bobby Babich and company. And I thought the pass rush was good. And kind of following some of the social media commentary, I saw a lot of concerns about the pass rush, and I'm concerned about it, but I don't think that this game was a bad example of the Bills rushing the passer. I thought they got some timely pressure, and they put Bo Nix into some difficult positions to try to throw the ball down the field. And I think, really structurally what the Bills defense is designed to do is to make it difficult on you in high leverage moments. And I think, yes, Bo Nix missed some throws down the field. Yes, their receivers could have made better plays on the ball down the field, but that's the whole point. Hey, in order to move the ball, you kind of had to do something hard. You had to make a hard throw. You had to make a hard catch. And more often than not, you're not going to. I thought the pressure was okay. I certainly feel like there's moments that you wish it was more, but I mean, the best teams in the NFL get pressure 30, 35% of the time. And I thought the Bills did a decent job against a team that only allows like a 25% pressure rate on the season. It was like bottom 5 in terms of lowest pressure rate in the league. I thought the Bills were okay. I thought their offensive line actually held quite a bit. They got away with quite a bit, to be honest with you. And the Bills certainly were careful with Nix with how they rushed, and not nearly to the extreme that Denver was. But a lot of good contained rush, being mindful of the mobility of Bo Nix. And, you don't really always want to sell out and put yourself in a position where you give him easy escape avenues. So I was pretty satisfied with the pass rush in this game. I want to talk a little special teams, I thought the Bills did some phenomenal things on special teams. Obviously something bad. We'll talk about that next. But things I liked on special teams, and I want to start with Tyler Bass. Tyler Bass was terrific in this game, and not just because he made all of his kicks. 3 of 3 on field goals, made both of his extra points, but his kickoffs were really, really good. There was one, and the broadcast didn't talk about it at all. I don't think, maybe they didn't know what this meant, but if you kick off and the ball lands in the landing zone ahead of the goal line and bounces into the end zone and it's a touchback, the touchback goes to the 20 and not the 30. And Bass put one in there perfect where it landed like just shy of the goal line, bounced in, and that's like a big deal. That's a 10-yard loss for the Broncos offense in terms of field position to start the drive. The other, he tried to do the same thing. They actually fielded it and returned it. They only got 16 yards on the return, and the Broncos started at the 25 instead of the 30. Those are big deals. People call this like hidden yards. It's not hidden. It's right there. 2 outstanding kickoffs by Tyler Bass to put Denver further back to start the drive. And like, if you study football and analytics, you know that I think for every 5 yards of field position that you gain when you start your drive, it's like the probability of scoring goes up like a meaningful amount. Make it harder on them. And that's what the Bills were able to do in a game where I think a lot of the narratives going in, and rightfully so, were that Denver would have an edge on special teams. And they certainly earned that. They were far better on special teams throughout the course of the season. They weren't better in this game, though. So Tyler Bass, terrific. It's not just the field goals and the extra points. Those 2 kickoffs were terrific. Sam Martin had 1 punt. It was a 45-yard net. Phenomenal coverage by Mac Hollins to get down there. Have no idea how Marvin Mims held on to that ball, but that was a great punt and a great coverage by Mac Hollins. 45-yard net. They started around like the 10-yard line, something like that. It was a very good punt. Ty Johnson, 35-yard return was outstanding. Khalil Shakir filling in for Brandon Codrington was outstanding. Had the 23-yard return, which was a big momentum opportunity for the Bills. So the return game was really good for Buffalo. Punting, kicking, a lot to be happy about when it comes to the Bills on special teams. In fact, I'll say comfortably the Bills got the win here. I know that they got the fake punt, but the Bills absolutely won the special teams battle in this football game, and we don't get to say that very often. So good to see that. All right, folks, on the other side of it, I want to get into things I didn't like, recap my predictions, talk about this divisional round matchup that the Bills have against the Baltimore Ravens. All right, folks, stick with me. Be right back. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need to place live bets, develop same-game parlays, and so much more. FanDuel has so many different ways for you to pick up a win. I had some success. I had the over on Ty Johnson receiving yards. I had the over on Dalton Kincaid receiving yards. I had the Bills covering 8.5. I did well. Hopefully you did as well. There's so many different ways for you to get a win on FanDuel. Not only can you bet on who will win the game, but you can bet on which players will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score, and so much more. I also had the over on James Cook. They had him at 70 yards for the over-under. I smashed the over on that as well. So get in on the action. Visit FanDuel.com. Join today. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, folks, happy Victory Monday to you. If you're on YouTube, you see I have the shirt, Happy Victory Monday to you. You can get your own. Go to herdmentalityshop.com. We have that one. And we also, we have JA17 and you don't. It's available as a t-shirt and as a hoodie. So lots of different color options. And of course, if you want a shirt or a hoodie, it's all there for you. herdmentalityshop.com. You can visit the link in the show notes. All right, let's talk about things I didn't like, predictions, and then, this Baltimore game. We'll share a couple of thoughts on that. Things I didn't like. Well, the first drive defense. You give up the 3rd and 8, you give up a bomb, and my panic level was pretty high. But obviously they settled in, but it doesn't mean I have to like the first drive. Put me in a little bit of concern mode there. I didn't like the head injuries in this game. Cam Lewis took an ugly hit to his head, trying to make a play along the sideline. Taron Johnson, that helmet-to-helmet hit where, his neck really kind of compressed. He cleared concussion protocol and was questionable with the neck injury. He came back and finished the game. Cam Lewis came back into the game as well. And obviously the Ray Davis hit was ugly. It was a bad throw by Josh. He was wide open. That's what you call a hospital throw. And Brandon Jones, Denver safety, he's got a bit of a knack for being a physical player. And that was a dirty hit, man. That was a very, very dirty hit. And Ray obviously, took a big shot to his head. You don't like to see any of that stuff. So those were not fun to see. Alec Anderson injured with a calf. He finished the game. So if I'm not mistaken, everybody started the game, finished the game, except for Ray Davis, who will surely be in concussion protocol this week. I thought the Bills earlier in this game kind of beat themselves offensively. Remember, this was like a 10-7 game at halftime. Kind of broke open there mid to late third quarter. But you had some missed opportunities offensively earlier in the game. I mean, 2 short field goals. Tyler Bass has had 2 field goals under 30 yards. That's never good. You never want that. First drive of the game, Josh Allen missed a wide open. Dawson Knox kind of rushed the throw. Also kind of sailed that throw to Amari Cooper where just not enough touch, just didn't have the right weight on the ball. And so you settle for 3 there, a very short field goal. Then you get an opportunity coming out of halftime to expand your lead, and you had to settle for 3 there as well. And I certainly didn't appreciate Bill Vinovich, the referee, missing the holding call on Dalton Kincaid clear as day. And then the play before that, James Cook kind of went for his patented bounce run to the left and win with speed, and Denver was ready for that. So you have this double dip opportunity. You know how much I care about the middle 8. Bills win the toss. They defer. That's the smart, right thing to do. And then you have your double dip opportunity where you can try to get that first or that last score of the first half. Obviously, you get the ball first in the second half. You can really build your lead. The Bills came away with the double dip with a total of 3 points. I mean, that's not what you're looking for. A maximum of 14, a minimum of 0. You come out with 3. Not great. In the first part of that, you had the Bills are trying to score before the half, moving the ball. Second down is a false start. You kind of have a muddy run on first down. It's like 2nd and 8. Then you have a false start where it's called on Dawkins. I think they could have called Brown either, but I also think Connor McGovern was just a tick late snapping that ball throughout the timing of the play, and it looked like the Bills had a shot play dialed up, and I was excited to see it, and of course we never will. So now it's 2nd and long. David Edwards gets cooked for a sack by Zach Allen. It's 3rd and long, and you don't really have the opportunity you're looking for to get points there. So didn't love that. And then I also want to pull out another offensive sequence later in the game. I mean, we're talking the Bills' second to last offensive possession. The Bills got a field goal on this drive to put them up 31-7. But when the Bills got down to the red zone in a game, I think the Bills 1 of 4 in the red zone in this game. Red zone offense was not good. You get down to the 2, and you have a personal foul on Mac Hollins. So it should have been 1st and goal from the 2. Mac Hollins, obviously, whatever. It's a lot of energy. It's cool, but, taunting penalty moves him back 15. And then in that same sequence, you're trying to get out of this game. You're bleeding clock here late in the 4th quarter. The Bills snap the ball with 17 seconds left with a moving clock. Like, what are we doing? Why are we leaving this time not ticking away? Then you have an incomplete pass that stops the clock, where it's the play where Josh Allen nicked his thumb and he's got some type of deal cut. I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't want Josh Allen's – I'm tired of thinking about Josh Allen's hands, right? I mean, it's been like the left hand to the right hand. I don't want Josh Allen having cuts and weird things going on with his fingernails while he's trying to win playoff games, right? So all of that just felt very unnecessary to me, whether it's, all right, Mac, you move us back from the 2. You snap the ball with 17 seconds and a moving clock when you're trying to get out of a game. And you throw the ball, and Josh Allen, it's incomplete, stops the clock, and to make matters worse, Josh Allen nicks his hand on a Broncos player, and, whatever's going on with his thumb. Don't love it. And I obviously don't love a fake punt conversion. Again, the Bills won the special teams battle, but come on now. You stopped them, and then they go a fake punt. They certainly knew the tendency there. They knew how, I think it was on Jamarcus Ingram, they knew how he was going to play that. Looks like the Bills are kind of going for a block there, and they got God. And situationally, the Bills get God on special teams like way too much. Surely Denver was aware of a tendency there and had that dialed up. But the fact that the Bills didn't feel like they were ready for that, we're talking about Sean Payton, who called an onside kick, a surprise onside kick in the freaking Super Bowl. You weren't ready for this? Doesn't seem like the Bills often are. So that's what I didn't like. Let's get into my predictions. I did good here. My first prediction was that Josh Allen would become the NFL's all-time leader in playoff rushing yards by a quarterback. He needed 32 yards to pass Steve Young. What I miscalculated there was Lamar Jackson played on Saturday night, and he passed Steve Young. So Josh had to pass Steve Young and Lamar Jackson. He did it. He got 46 yards. He's now the all-time leader in playoff rushing yards for quarterbacks, but of course that'll be on the line pretty much every single week moving forward with, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen being in the playoffs. So right now it's Josh. We'll see what happens after next week. But anyways, I got that correct. I predicted that Dawson Knox would score the first touchdown, and it was right there. It was right there. Oh, man, you saw it wide open. Josh rushed the throw, and they couldn't connect. Or else I would have nailed that one. I missed it. Of course, this is now the first time in 5 years that Dawson Knox didn't score the first touchdown of the postseason for the Bills. Number 3 is I predicted 150 rushing yards. That was aggressive. They hadn't given up that many all year. The Bills got it. They got 210. Felt good about that rushing offense, and the boys took care of business there. I predicted that Denver, despite averaging 4 sacks per game, would have 2 or less. That's exactly what they got, 2. So I got that one. I predicted a Bills win. So I go 4 out of 5 on predictions this week. I had a good feel for how this game was going to go. I hope that I have a good feel for how Baltimore's going to go next week, and that I feel good about the Bills' chances. Obviously, this is a big one, right? Of course it's big. It's a divisional round of the playoffs. Baltimore's coming to Buffalo. And you want to talk about just like a marquee game for the National Football League. The guys that are going to finish 1 and 2 in MVP voting. The first and second team all-pro quarterbacks going toe-to-toe with everything on the line, with an opportunity to go play for the AFC Championship. Huge. Obviously, Baltimore's a great football team. Lamar Jackson's awesome. Derrick Henry's awesome. Their offensive scheme been giving everyone fits. Defensively, they figured it out. They made a couple of adjustments with their back seven personnel. They've literally been like the best defense in the NFL over the last 10 weeks. It's a huge challenge. But I don't think the best barometer or the best measuring stick for your expectations for the Bills in this game is thinking back to week 4. I don't think that's going to be the game that's going to calibrate your expectations appropriately. I'm certainly concerned about the game. Everybody in the world should be concerned. But the Bills are a very different team since, 35-10 loss in Baltimore? First of all, this game's in Buffalo. That helps. The Bills earned that game. I know that Baltimore had the head-to-head. Well, if you wanted to host this game, don't lose to the Raiders and the Browns. You did. And they lost to Steelers. Bills earn the right to host this game. That changes things. And if you're going to that game, Bills Mafia, you better be loud. If you walk out of that stadium with a voice, then you failed. Well, Baltimore's not a very good procedural team on offense. You can make a difference with crowd noise. But it's a big deal that this game is in Buffalo. I think Josh Allen, obviously, that was like a mini slump for him. He didn't slump much at all this season, but that Texans-Ravens combo, he was in a little bit of a slump. He's playing a lot better football right now. A lot better. And then think about the defense in that game. Balin Spector and Dorian Williams were the linebackers. That won't be the case. It's going to be Taron Johnson and it'll be Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano. The Bills did not have Taron Johnson for that game. Taylor Rapp got injured 16 plays into the game. Cole Bishop played 41 snaps. The defensive tackle rotation is completely different. Dwayne Carter, high-volume snap taker in that game. Now it's a completely different situation. It's going to be a tough out. There's no question. And I'm concerned about the game. But my reason for the concern is not as much to do with the way that this game went earlier in the season, because I think the Bills are a very different team, and honestly, so are the Ravens. At least on defense. It's going to be a big one. Obviously, we'll spend a lot of time this week getting ready for it. But first, we'll take care of this Broncos game. We'll do the All-22 review. We'll do herd mentality. We'll do crossover Thursday with Kevin Ostreicher. We'll do the primer. We'll do final thoughts. You know what's coming. We'll get ready for this game that will decide if the Bills advance to the AFC Championship game or if this is where it ends. But I promise you, if you listen this week, you will be ready. Enjoy this Victory Monday, folks. 5 years in a row with the playoff win. Come on now. That's exciting. That's awesome. A lot of franchises would kill for that. Now, we want to go further. That doesn't mean we're satisfied. We want more. But take a moment, enjoy this 5 years in a row with at least one playoff win. It's a good time to be a Bills fan, folks. These are the good days. Enjoy them. All right, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. As always, I kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review. Have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to catching up with you again real soon.